Hi, this is Diane, and I will be your host for Miscellaneous How-Tos and Did You Know Part 3. Part 3's topic today will cover reports. So let's get started. I'm going to select a job that I have already processed, and I'm going to select the Print Reports icon. What you're seeing is the screen for reports showing the collections that you presently have set up in your reports section. As you can see here, I have accounting, sheet display, shipping, and shop. I can use a Windows Standards by just double-clicking on a collection, and it will break down and show you the items or the reports that are contained in the accounting collection. Or I can press the plus button, and it will actually do the same thing as double-clicking on the header. If I wanted to add a collection, all I need to do is select Add Collection. And we'll call this My Reports. So now I have a new report or a new collection called My Reports. As you can see under My Reports, there are no reports contained there because we just created it. So I'll highlight My Reports, and the next thing I want to do is add some reports to that collection. The screen appears, and it will show you on the right-hand side whatever reports you presently have on that collection. And as you can see, there aren't any at the moment for this one. If I want to select this entire set of all the available reports that Vulcan presently has, I can highlight the first one and use my Shift and left mouse button, and it will highlight all of the reports within that list and do the Add button. And now I have every report that's available in Vulcan to My Reports collection. If there was one of these reports that you don't really want, you can highlight that row and select the Delete. If there's a few more that I maybe don't want, you can just highlight that row and delete. What do some of these options with the boxes actually mean? Well, for example, Optimize. Let's look at the Optimize column. You've got angle cut list, your connector cut list, a rod cut list, and vein runner cut list. What that means is if the data that you have set up for a connector or an angle or a rod or a vein, in the data you have a inventory stock length set up, then it will actually tell you what the lengths are from that stock length to cut. So for example, let's just pick the connector cut list, and we will highlight the row. We want to optimize it, and we're going to preview this report so you can see what it actually looks like. So on my slips and drives, it's telling me that I'm using 109 inches of my 120-inch stock length that I have set up already for my slips and my drives, and telling me how much of each length is going to come out of each one of those pieces. So let's look at that same report not optimized. So we'll uncheck the Optimize box. We'll select Connector Cut List, and we'll select Preview the selected report, and you'll see that it just totals all the lengths that are corresponding to each slip and drive. Let's use this same example and see what the expanded actually does. So if we select the expanded and preview that report as well, then actually it's going to show you an expanded report will break it down by each individual piece number, how many you need and what the lengths are. So of course, if you select the expanded box, it's going to take up a lot more paper. But again, it's a shop preference how you like to get your reports sent to you. Just like the optimized box, the expanded box may have different meanings to different reports. For example, the shipping list. The shipping list, when it's expanded or not expanded, it will actually, on an expanded one, if you had a quantity of 25 of one fitting, then what will happen on the shipping list, it will print 25 line items for whatever that item is. If you don't expand, then it will print one item with a quantity of 25. And I'm not sure if this job has any quantities associated with it, but we'll look and see. Again, it will just show you the piece numbers, and if there was a quantity, then it would actually give you the quantity as well, and there were no multiple quantities associated with that. But it's just for you to check off what items are going on the truck, your shipping list. So again, it's just a user preference whether or not you want it to come out expanded, one line item for every quantity, or just a single line item with the quantity next to it. Cost, the only report that has a cost associated with it is the fitting count list, so you can either get a report fitting count list with a cost or without a cost. Whether or not you want to use color is just by the flip of a button. You don't have to set up your printer. So for instance, let's look at this fitting count list and preview that report, and you'll see that we have a grid with some color, actually a pie chart with some color. It actually shows you a legend to the right telling you how much percentages of each one of the items that you have there. And if we decided not to print that in color, then when we go to preview that particular report, you'll see that you don't have the pie chart and there's no color associated with it. So it keeps you from having to set up your printer not to print color. So relatively, that's how you add reports and remove reports. If you wanted to have an item, let's just say your job materials list shipped, you wanted that to come out on the printer when you're selecting the accounting collection first. So all I need to do is move that report up in the print order, highlight the row, and select Move It, and it will move it up to the top. What are the differences between the materials list shipped, total, and used? Well, that's a good question. We'll look at that here in just a second. If we select the shipped area, actually, you'll see that what you're printing for your material, your area and weight, every item is calculated with the shipped area. So this report will give you the areas and the weight shipped. If we select the next report, total area, what that will give you is regardless of how much you used of the sheet. If you have a 60 by 120 sheet and you only use 20 inches, it will calculate the entire sheet, the entire 60 by 120, and when you get to the materials of the galvanized sheets, you'll see that there'll be a difference between the entire area and weight is for total. Now, when you do get to, let's look at the recap area, the recap on all three of these reports, shipped, total, and used, all will just recap the shipped area. So if we look at the used area takes the max X times the max Y of the sheet used, and then will give you the area and weight of the max sheet used. So each one of these reports can and will give you differences in your areas and weights. But again, the recap for all three reports are shipped area recap. Another area of reports that you may not even know about is a project report. You can actually get project reports. You do that by selecting the Query button, and this project report will print out reports depending on what you select here, scheduled, completed, or shipped. So if I want to go back to, let's say, 2004, and from 2004 to 2005, I want to know what jobs have been scheduled, which projects and which jobs have been scheduled. So if I select the Display the Report, it will actually bring up a production summary and show you a graph of the total fitting pounds and the total duct pounds, and it will break down each and every job that were in that date range of scheduled. Remember, we select scheduled from December of 2004 to December of 2005. So what was scheduled for a year? And I can also do the same thing for completed and see which jobs were completed during that time frame. So a production summary report is selected on projects level. And what you do is just select a project and select query and then put your date ranges, and it will give you a production summary per project on scheduled, completed, and ship dates. And that concludes part 3 of the miscellaneous how-tos and